Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: Zambia marks International Women's Day. The Zambia police castigated for putting a child behind bars. The UPND denies plotting a one-party state. And in international news, Ukrainian child refugees enroll in Romanian schools. And in sports news, government urges sports associations to be serious in their activities.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue: Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time: registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid, and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A 19-year-old University of Zambia first-year student, Consilia Namwinga, who could not report to the university due to lack of resources, has finally reported for school. Ms. Namwinga has told Camnet News in an interview that a well-wisher who was moved by her story, which aired on Camnet News, came on board and has decided to pay for her first year of study. The first-year student has since appealed to the government through the Student Loans and Scholarship Board to consider her in the next selection of the 2,000 students to benefit from the over 65 million kwacha repossessed from Faith Musonda. More in the following report.
Consilia Namwinga is a 19-year-old University of Zambia first-year student who could not report at the institution because she was left out from those who benefited from government's bursaries, and her family was unable to pay for her school fees. Her story first appeared on Camnet News on 13th February 2022, where she narrated her reasons behind not reporting for school. Her mother and grandmother also added their voice in pleading for the government to help their child.
I was admitted into the university, and I also applied for student loan, but I was left out due to, I don't know, some reasons. So I'm appealing to the government or to any well-wisher to help me out, to help me achieve my dreams as a medical doctor.
After her story was shared, a well-wisher who sought anonymity has come to the aid of Ms. Namwinga and has paid for her first year at the University of Zambia. We caught up with Consilia Namwinga to see if she has indeed reported for school, and her joy explains it all, as there could be no better Women's Day gift for her than being in school pursuing her dreams.
I confirm that I'm in school. I appealed some few months ago using Camnet TV, and gladly some more wishes came to my aid and helped me pay my first year. And I'm really grateful to the well wishers, because I never thought that I would be in school. I never really thought of that, so I'm really grateful.
Now that the government has decided to hand over 65 million kwacha repossessed from a journalist, Faith Musonda, to the Ministry of Education to go towards the support of an additional 2,000 students, Ms. Namwinga only hopes that government will consider her for support going forward now that she is in school, and says she does not want to drop out due to lack of financing in the future.
I applied last year for student loan and wasn't accepted. So going forward, I hit there's a second list that will be out soon. So I would like to be included in the second list so that my education should not be interrupted, so that what the world has started should not be interrupted. And today we're celebrating the Women's Day. And I would also want to be a woman. I would also want to be a woman that will contribute positively to the country.
And mother to the girl Felicitas Cantini is so grateful to the well-wisher who has come through for the family at their point of need. While many have questioned government's criteria of selecting those to place under sponsorship, some students such as Ms. Namwenga should be considered. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia police has come under public scrutiny for subjecting a child to being in a police cell for a crime he did not commit, following a picture that has gone viral depicting the child in custody. This was after police in Lusaka at Northgate Police Post arrested Esther Stali of Lusaka's Chazanga compound and detained the woman with her child for 6 days. Camnet TV spoke to the father and mother of the boy to get to the root of the matter. More in this report.
With children making up almost 50% of the population, Zambia struggles to meet the needs of its childhood age population. Subjected to severe poverty, Zambian children are faced with challenges such as malnutrition, impoverishment, educational disadvantages, child marriages, and hard labor. The Zambia police have come under public scrutiny for subjecting a child in police cell for a crime he did not commit. This was after police in Lusaka at Northgate Police Post arrested Esther Stari of Lusaka's Chazanga compound and detained the woman and the child for about a week. She was only assisted out of police custody by a well-wisher. She explained to this journalist what transpired.
So after four crates Nabwana kongolesa hapo, then malaita after yanabwa yaenda mba bwana si ya fridge one obwa pesa kama pwanyi kama fridge aunonge kama. So after wabwera kwa mati tipendelane ndepansamba kupendelana bwa pesa ndrama na kongolesa basona. So then wambili mawana pwanyi kama fridge Demo nsambia kuvutanana pakata pia pesa katapelekana polisi. Polisi kupenda ndrama ya bwafika 1 2 3 1 pin 3.
So manje paliona kugani ma polisi wanakugani pamoja na mwana or mnaenda kwanji ku polisi?
Naenda pamoja na mwana.
And this is the bar where she used to wake, and the father to the child is disappointed that her child was subjected to inhuman conditions.
Panezo pelekera mwana mungwala, sorry, not mungwala, what's this? Madai pana milk it. Ndiye pamene nando pesa ati awamai wali mu custody. Ndiye pamene wajanabu aniofya wajoza ati iwe kupeva nonga tuuze. That's when nabwana shita capture ja picture ya mwana wanga. Then at the end of the day nabwana was that is it in order, is it in constitution, in the laws of Zambia kuti hivi vikazingala vindu munjiraso wanza uchedwa na kuchedwa enda kuli konse tikulonga. So my concern is about the health of that child, because my child has been amenanala kwa ni mai wake of which ni tete wake nivo mera utunzali pira, but how come mwana wanga pezeke mu situation yaso?
This is the matter that has grabbed the attention of child rights activists like Henry Kawe.
This confirms what the Minister of Home Affairs said a few weeks ago, that the police were involving themselves in activities that are not to their level. So we appeal to the Zambia police to ensure that those things don't happen. But we want to urge the public to be sensitive towards children. If you expose such a child in such a situation, it is, infringing on their dignity. We need to ensure that we protect the dignity of every child.
On this Women's Day, Ms. Sitali is appealing to well-wishers to help her with capital to sustain her livelihood.
Pembeko chabanga nitanze kondama business kozi singa kwanise kusenzera mundu ngaende kujere. For at least nitanze kuchena ambache business yanga. These
challenges are common in low-income areas, and people continue to face them, thus magnifying the perception that justice is a preserve of the rich. The Police Public Relations Unit could not provide response to the matter by broadcast time. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
President Hakainde Hichilema says the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, will bring transformation and ease the lives of women and a girl child if properly utilized. Speaking during the commemoration of the International Women's Day at the showgrounds in Lusaka, President Hichilema says his administration will firmly support women and a girl child. Meanwhile, the head of state has noted the need to address the challenges that women and girls are facing due to the adverse effects of climate change. More in this report.
Celebrated annually on March 8, International Women's Day honors the achievement of women throughout history while acknowledging the current challenges affecting them. Tuesday, Zambia joined the rest of the world in commemorating the day under the theme Gender Equality Today for Sustainable Tomorrow. Gracing the event, which was held at the showgrounds in Lusaka, President Hakainde Hichilema says government takes note of some of the challenges that women and girls face, among those being the effects that climate change has.
Climate change is making these tasks even more difficult. In most cases, women and girls have to move longer distances to access water, fire, indeed food, due to the negative effects of climate change. And that is why our government is accepting the issue, the challenge of climate change, which was a debatable matter a few years ago.
The president was, however, quick to mention that the Constituency Development Fund is one of the facilities that can transform and ease the life of women and girls if properly utilized.
At the expense of mitigating climate change, this must come to an end forthwith. No more rain-keeping areas. Water bodies must be given to private use, especially to those of us in the public office. Public office is not an opportunity to take away from the communities, to take away from women, to make it difficult for women and children, especially girl children, to access or to ease their life.
Speaking at the same event, the United Nations appreciated the effort of the UPND administration of including women in key position portfolios, while U.S. Chargé d'Affaires said our country is willing to continue supporting Zambia to attain gender equity and equality.
To uphold women's rights and fully leverage the potential of women's leadership in emergency preparedness and response, the perspective of women and girls in all their diversity must be integrated in the formulation and implementation of policies and programs for response and recovery.
The United States also works with the people and the government of Zambia to advance gender equity in the environmental sector by helping integrate best practices in land and natural resource policy and legislation through consultative processes.
Meanwhile, the non-government organization Coordinating Council says this year's theme is a call to action to mitigate against the adverse effects of climate change.
At national level, Zambia enacted the Gender Equity and Equality Act in 2015. All that is needed, Your Excellency, is commitment to implement this legislation for the benefit of all, especially the women and children, whose vulnerability and marginalization remains apparent.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Triumph Foundation founder has underscored the need to continue addressing issues that hinder women from achieving their full potential in all spheres of life. The founder was speaking when the organization donated assorted items to women at Chipata Level 1 Hospital in Lusaka Tuesday. Meanwhile, members of staff at Chipata Level 1 Hospital have expressed gratitude for the gesture. More in this report.
The biggest contribution women make to the world is a gift of life. They bear the pain to deliver a child in a situation between life and death. But on this earth in the 21st century, women still remain marginalized. Tuesday, 8th January 2022, Zambia joined the global community in marking International Women's Day. The theme for this year's event is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. A humanitarian organization called Triumph Foundation opted to share the commemoration gifts with the women at Chipata First Level Hospital in Lusaka's Mandevu constituency. The Kangaloo section, the maternity wing, and the women patients admitted at the hospital were wished Olakunda, the Triumph Foundation Chief Executive Officer, says there's a need to safeguard the plight of women considering their contribution to the country's development.
I'm standing here because of a mother gave birth to me. I salute you, my mother, and may God richly bless you. Today we are celebrating the Women's Day. For me, I celebrate it because I'm a mother who has seen struggles, who had been there. A woman is so important to this world because even a president came from a mother, a teacher came from a mother, a nurse came from a mother. So a woman is very important in this world. And today I want to salute every woman out there to say, truly you are a triumphant, because I've seen women fighting battles which even men cannot do. So I celebrate each and every woman out there.
The foundation has affirmed commitment to complement the government's effort in safeguarding the plight of women.
We are here to actually give to women because we are marking it as a Women's Day, which is in 2022. And we have given to a lot of mothers here in different departments. We are not only giving out gifts, we are also giving them a food or a meal to patients of about 75 patients who are in today.
A woman is in fact a pillar of hope, a pillar of love, and obviously a pillar of development. So what we have done today at Chipata Level 1 Clinic is not only a showcasing of how God has blessed us, but it is also showing that in fact a woman can do more than what the society has limited the woman to do.
Members of staff expressed gratitude for the gesture.
I would like to say thank you to Triumph for the gestures that they've been doing, because this is not the first time. On behalf of the mothers, we say thank you very much. May you continue with the good work and God richly bless you.
I would like to say thank you to Triumph for the donations that they've given to the mothers. They are really happy. We appreciate your efforts and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you for coming here, for helping our women out with the things that you brought for them. May you please continue the same spirit. Thank you and happy Women's Day.
You and I exist because a woman made a sacrifice. Hence, it is our responsibility to steer gender equality. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
United Party for National Development, UPND National Chairperson Stephen Katuka has dispelled claims by the opposition Patriotic Front, suggesting that they are trying to coerce members of the opposition to join the ruling party in a bid to create a one-party state. Addressing the media Tuesday, Mr. Katuka notes that those who are choosing to join the party are doing so due to good policies of the UPND, such as the increase in Constituency Development Fund CDF from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha. He said this on the sidelines of receiving defectors from the Socialist Party and the National Democratic Congress NDC faction.
In a democratic country, tenets like the freedom of assembly, association, speech, religion, and the freedom to choose leaders, among others, are upheld. Zambia in 1990 adopted multi-party politics to enhance this ideology, as this allows citizens to choose their leaders based on the manifestos of different political parties. Opposition political parties, among other players in the civic space, are responsible for holding the government of the day accountable to ensure that they uphold democracy and fulfill their campaign promises to the citizens. The trend on the Zambian political space is that there have been massive defections to the ruling party after a change of government. While some have argued that this weakens the opposition, which is crucial in conducting checks and balances, others state that citizens should be allowed to exercise the right to associate with the political party of their choice. The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, has dismissed allegations from political players, among them the opposition Patriotic Front, that it is trying to create a one-party state by coercing members of the opposition to join the ruling party. UPND National Chairman Mr. Stephen Katuka was speaking during a press briefing.
I do not think we have intentions to go to the one-party rule. They attempted to do that. Now they're accusing us because that's what they wanted to do. For us, we believe that in a democracy we must coexist. all political parties are free to exist. But human beings also are free to move. No human being is restricted. We saw movement in the previous regime. People left our party going to PF, and we allowed them because they are free to move. And I don't think we can, if that was wanted by the UPND, first thing we would have done was to amend the constitution. But the constitution now allows for multi-party democracy.
Meanwhile, the UPND has received 3 defectors. The 3 are National Democratic Congress NDC faction National Spokesperson Reverend Franklin Membe, Socialist Party losing candidate for Shiwangandu Mr. Andrew Kalulu, and Socialist Party losing candidate for Lubasesh Mr. Chimponda Walya, who contested in the 12th August 2021 general elections.
Hence, there is no need to remain in opposition when something progressive is happening. Honorable Chairman, the following are the few reasons that has moved us from Socialist Party and NDC to come and join this bigger family. It has never been seen before that just 6 months in government, we have managed as Zambians to see the government moving CDF from 1.6 to 25.7 million. It's not easy. Mr. Chairman, I'm also a teacher by profession. For the first time in my life, we have seen the free education coming to reality. And this one has really confused in the education fraternity. The head teacher for the first time receiving the grant, 65,000 when they used to receive 250 kwacha.
The UPND has called on believers in the party's manifesto to join, stating that politicians should be able to work for the good of the country and not for individual benefit. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Democratic Party DP faction office bearer Judith Kabemba says Zambia has no proper direction when it comes to achieving gender equality, as there are few laws to back the attainment of this goal. In an interview, Ms. Kabemba notes that while certain articles in the Constitution demand that there should be gender equality in all sectors, the laws do not attach any consequence for not adhering to the same, making this requirement weak. She has also called for a law which will compel political parties to adopt up to 45% of female candidates during elections. More in this report.
With only 8 years remaining till 2030, which is the deadline for the achievement of major goals, among which is gender equality, concerns about whether this will be attained have been raised. It is globally recognized by local and international bodies that gender inequality is still a major concern in the world, as the female folk continue to face challenges, among which is limited access to education and economic opportunities, as well as low representation on the political space. Currently, the gender representation for women in the Zambia National Assembly stands at 14.7%, which is a far cry to the desired goal of having a 50-50 gender representation. In response to this, Democratic Party DP faction office bearer Ms. Judith Kabemba says what is hindering the country from progressing in the cause is the lack of supporting policies. In an interview, Ms. Kabemba notes that, as an example, political parties are compelled to ensure gender equality in political adoptions, but the percentage is left to their discretion.
For example, we have Article 68. In Article 68, it talks about nomination to the president having power to nominate up to 8 members of parliament. And in Article 69, it gives the president a privilege to appoint women, youths, and various interest groups. But then that is a discretionary law, because the president will have the discretion to appoint whoever he wants. If he wants, he can actually nominate all the 8 to be men.
She notes that another area of concern is that laws speaking on gender equality do not specify who is to be punished for them not being followed, stating that this makes the laws weak.
Zambia has laws in the Constitution, but these laws that we have in the Constitution are non-justiciable laws. They are just there, but they cannot be followed, and nobody can be penalized for not doing what is supposed to be done. We also have Article 60 that talks about political parties sponsoring candidates during elections. So as Democratic Party, we are proposing that an amendment should be done to that particular article to go further and say 45% of the adoptions that political parties should do in a particular elections should be women, so that we will have more women participating, subsequent more women winning, and more women in the National Assembly.
Ms. Kabemba has expressed that unless such laws are made effective, achieving gender equality in all sectors will only remain a dream. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Charity Christian Ministries chairperson, Mr. Joshua Robert, has appealed to the United Party for National Development, UPND, through the Ministry of Education to come up with ways of motivating volunteer teachers in community schools. In an interview, the organization chairperson, who is also head teacher of Charity Community School in Luwansha, notes that while government announced that volunteer teachers in public schools will be paid through school grants, no mention has been made about volunteer teachers in community schools. He explains that this is especially important to inspire more to come on board as volunteer teachers in community schools to complement the education system in the country.
Youth schools especially caters for orphans and vulnerable children. They pave way for government schools to be built. They create employment for teachers, and the teachers in those schools are volunteers who work without a salary, sometimes for many years. At the end of the day, these teacher volunteers are replaced by trained teachers who come to do the same job, but them with a salary and the retirement package at the end of the day. At least the New Dawn government should find a way of encouraging such efforts, just like in other sectors, e.g. music, sports, political, and in the civil service in general.
The Zambia National Union of Teachers ZANUT General Secretary Newman Bubala has urged government to ensure that all teachers applying for transfers on marital basis to be highly screened to avoid what has been obtaining in the past regarding forged marriage certificates to secure a transfer. Mr. Bubala says this says inasmuch as the move of reuniting couples that have worked apart is commendable, some workers take advantage of the porous system and forge documents, a move that should be avoided going forward. Earlier, government invited civil servants wishing to be swapped to submit transfer requests by 28th of February 2022. More in this report.
The government decided that married couples working within the public service, judiciary and local government service should not be separated on account of transfers. This move by the new administration was premised on the significance to address issues of low productivity, broken families, and also to uphold the existing national values and principles, among others. This initiative was appreciated by stakeholders across the country. However, the Zambia National Union of Teachers, ZANUT, has urged government to ensure that workers being transferred must be strictly screened to avoid history repeating itself. ZANUT General Secretary Newman Bubala notes that in the past, some civil servants in the education sector forged marriage certificates to secure a transfer, a practice that should be avoided.
We agree that government policies that married people should be together. I know that some of them has been separated for a long time, but this will entail the government to putting certain systems into place, issues of space, issues of visiting, the very rules of transfer, so that people are not transferred with fake certificates, abusing the system. So the system, we need to put a mechanism to make sure that a transfer is genuine. And the marriages also should not, you know, we in the early days, we would see somebody just graduating quick, today has got a marriage certificate and he wants to shift. Meanwhile, he has already been sent to a place. He arrives there, he gets it. We need to put a mechanism to make sure that there's a control to this and no one disadvantaged, and the abuse of a system can be controlled with proper rules and guidelines.
Mr. Bubala has since called for strict measures to ensure that quality education is achieved.
Supposed to be transferred so that they don't abuse the process. We don't want to have a situation where boyfriend and girlfriends will start giving each other marriage certificates for the transfer process. I think it should be a system which can give you respect to the policy itself government has brought into, and not to disadvantage the running of education, where maybe everyone just shifts into urban or into a good place, and because of marriage. We need a well equitable supply of teachers to all places so that every teacher where he is offering service, and this is what it is. What the government is trying to hear is a separation of husband and wife, and this is correct. We agree with the policy, but let us put valves which can control so that the system can run at its best.
Alex Chimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, has recommended that the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, should revert back to the 90-day pump price review cycles as opposed to 30-day cycles in order to aid in stabilizing the pump price of fuel. JCTR Social and Economic Development Programs Manager Chama Mudia says the high cost of living is exposing the vulnerability of women and children in the country. Mrs. Mudia says the basic needs and nutrition basket for Lusaka in February 2022 rose to 9,305 kwacha, indicating an upwards adjustment to the price, with 256 kwacha 13 ingwe to that of January 2022. More in the following report.
This monthly reviewing of fuel has a negative impact on consumers because it distorts their budget.
Expecting now all the product to be increased, of which it is going to affect the lives of people.
These have been the cries of motorists and some citizens in the country with regards to the removal of subsidies from fuel, a decision the new administration claims is aimed at ensuring that resources are channeled towards other important sectors. The effect of high fuel pump price has been triggered down to a common man who has to pay more than those who deal in the fuel sector. While the Energy Regulation Board has decided to be revising the fuel pump price every month, the decision seems to cause uncertainty on the market, considering that the pump price is changing every 30 days. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection has since recommended that the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, should revert back to the 90 days pump price review cycle as opposed to the 30 days.
Instability in fuel pump prices has continued to register its impact on the cost of living. We request that ERB reverts to 90-day pump price review cycles as opposed to 30-day review cycles to aid in stabilizing the pump price of fuel.
Mrs. Mundia, however, says the basic need and nutrition basket as measured by JCTR for Lusaka stood at 9,305 kwacha 38 ingwe for the month of February 2022 compared to 9,049 kwacha 25 ingwe recorded in January this year.
Upward movement in the basket is attributed to increased prices of some selected items. Of note, total food costs increased by a large margin, moving from 3,421 to 3,768. This is a 346 kwacha increment in a period of 1 month. Other notable price increases were seen in food items such as kapenta and rice, and in non-food but essential items such as charcoal.
While some stakeholders have opposed government's decision to ban the importation of potatoes and onions in the country, the center says the decision has yet again affected the price of onion on the market, as local supply appears to be at variance with the demand of the commodity.
In February 2022, the Ministry of Agriculture announced the importation ban on onions and potatoes on the premise of supporting local production and local farmers. This has, however, yet again affected the price of onions on the market, as seen by the over 50 kwacha increment in the price of 4 kg of onion.
Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We'll take our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of ZAMBIA Electronics.
At ZAMBIA Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, ZAMBIA Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. ZAMBIA Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. ZAMBIA Electronics, the real deal.
Do you have an extra car? Then make yourself extra money. We would like to put that car, yes, that car parked there, to good use to make you extra money on the side just through its service while keeping it safe and secure. Call 0765 02 3883 to register your vehicle with us today. Delpo Services. Service beyond satisfaction.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary for Administration Mambo Hamaundu has said the contribution of women in the social, economic and political cycles cannot be undermined. Mr. Hamaundu further says female applicants must be given priority on empowerment opportunities.
Woman is the foundation of development. Women play a very critical role in our lives as children, and therefore, if a woman is involved even in aspects of local government, we are likely to see development because by nature, women are caring, women put in a good shift as opposed to the men folk. So I must apologize for this, but it's the truth. So it is very important that we have more and more women actually participating in the political, socio-economic environment of our country so that together we can develop the country. And I think the challenge that we've had as a society is that we tend to stereotype, even the women themselves tend to stereotype one another, and this hinders their participation in politics. You find that if a woman comes up to say they want to participate in politics, they are called all kinds of names, and this really has has not helped the development of the women folk. Suffice to say that even
the Lions Club of Chipata has donated various food items and groceries worth more than 20,000 kwacha to Magoro School for the Blind and Cheshire Homes in Chipata District, Eastern Province. The Lions Club delegation was led by District 413 Zambia District Governor Emmanuel Kangwa. The non-governmental organization has continued helping vulnerable communities in Zambia, especially people living with disabilities. More in this report.
The Lions Club is helping various vulnerable communities in Zambia, especially people living with disabilities. The club donated various food items and groceries worth more than 20,000 kwacha to Magoro School for the Blind and Cheshire Homes Zambia in Chipata District, Eastern Province. The Lions Club team was led by District 413 Zambia District Governor Emmanuel Kangwa.
So we came here to share our love with you. We came here to also see how you are doing and what challenges you have. But in coming, we said we cannot go empty-handed. Things are hard, but we will still go with some few things for our children, for our friends, for our dear ones, so that as we leave them, they will remain with something to use and to eat as well.
Magoro School for the Blind head boy, Evans Zulu, welcomed the gesture by the Lions Club.
We really appreciate so much for the things that you have brought to us. May God bless you. We are very happy to have you here as the pupils at Magoro School for the Blind.
Sister Petronella gave a vote of thanks on behalf of the children at Cheshire Homes in Chipata District.
From the very start of Cheshire Homes, of its existence, Lions has been there to support us. So we are very happy that you have remembered us after so many years, from 08 to 2022. You said, let's go back to the roots. Yes. Because if it wasn't you, it was going to be very hard for us to survive, especially from the initial stage. So we really appreciate your gesture.
The ultimate goal should be to give service to the little ones, to support this Cheshire Home so that it continues. We do not want Cheshire Home to go down because the job that you do is really, really critical to our community, to our nation, and to the world at large.
The Lions Club delegation also inspected the kitchen and dining hall at Magoro School for the Blind as a way of appreciating the challenges at the school. Sylvester Chimba for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
Raising a generation of young feminist leaders, Executive Director Wamba Wanki says the engagement of traditional leaders in the fight against early child marriages is key in combating the vice. Ms. Wanki states that one of the reasons parents marry off their children at an early age is because of various traditional beliefs. More in this report.
Marriage is defined as a formal marriage or informal union that takes place before the age of 18. The practice has been shown to have profound physical, intellectual, psychological, and emotional impacts, especially for girls. Children who are poor, live in rural areas, or are out of school are at risk of marrying young. Government has put up a lot of measures to curb early child marriages in Zambia, such as the National Strategy to End Marriage by 2030.
Because free education is just one part. There are issues from the home, there are issues related to menstrual hygiene, so how are we going to provide sanitary wear, for example? Because we know that some girls come from very poor homes, and that is the reason they have ended up being married off or ended up in pregnant and ultimately married off. So we're trying to deal with the issues that drive child marriage.
Raising a generation of young feminist leaders, Executive Director says traditional leaders should be engaged in the fight against early child marriages.
Socio-economic situations, we also have the different traditional beliefs and values, one being that as soon as a girl attains puberty, she's ready for marriage, and they start preparing her as such. So those are some of the challenges we have faced on the ground. We also have the gender inequality. I think at the center of it all is the inequality that girls face. There are some families that have had to prioritize boys' education because they believe that girls will get married and they'll have their own family, and their husbands will support them.
2020, the total number of girls married before the age of 18 remained at approximately 12 million per year. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We have international and sports news for you after this break.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid, and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back, and now in international news, Mozambique has recorded its first day of zero COVID-19 infections, in addition to zero COVID deaths on Monday and zero hospitalization in 24 hours throughout the country. Some 18 people are still recovering from COVID. Meanwhile, more than 291,000 Ukrainians have arrived in Romania following Russia's invasion. On Monday, the Romanian government approved legislation allowing Ukrainian children to enroll in local schools. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
And 2,196 died after contracting the virus. The authorities attributed the zero cases to the mass vaccination campaign and the public compliance with the social distancing rules. The adherence to mask wearing and hand washing also contributed to the zero COVID infection. The government launched the mass vaccination campaign last year, targeting to inoculate 17 million inhabitants by late December 2021.
In the bitter cold, waiting in a queue can feel longer than it already is. Theirs is a story of people fleeing a war they didn't expect. Mothers taking their children across the border. Families being torn apart as men between the age of 18 to 60 are not allowed to leave Ukraine under martial law. Marina, a divorcee who's traveling alone with her 12-year-old son, stayed in Kyiv for as long as she could.
We stayed because we thought the war would end at any moment. It was relatively quiet in our way. We heard the bombing, but we didn't think it would get to us until the very last moment. We realized we had to escape when we heard missiles flying over our head.
Despite the warnings, few believed a war would break out until it actually happened. They tell about how they were caught off guard, not expecting to become refugees. And in the midst, a group of Indian students who arrived in Kharkiv only 3 weeks ago to start medical school.
It was around 16 days. We thought that there will be no war. They were just argue and all. But suddenly this happened, and we all went to the bunker, and we had we had a really hard time. There were no facility through which we could escape from there, so we decided to go by foot. We traveled, I guess, 30 kilometers by foot and finally reached Poltava, and then we managed to move from there with a bus.
A little further down the line, Yana's husband is trying to cheer her up. These are the last moments they will be together as a family until who knows when. She's afraid for me, he says, but I think she will be bored without me. She will have nobody to nag. They have traveled for 3 days from Zaporizhzhia in the east, where the Russian army is advancing.
I
woke up at 5 a.m. because I heard a huge loud bang. I thought something fell down from the shelf in the room next door, but the airport was being bombed.
Ruslana made the same journey, leaving behind her husband, sister, nieces and nephew. She's begging them to move fast before they get caught up in the fighting. She's upset that her life has been upended. It was a good, simple one, and she had plans for the future. And she rejects Russia's President Vladimir Putin's claims that civilians are not being targeted.
This is not true. It's full scale. We're being annihilated. People are dying, children, elderly, everybody. We had to run by foot as soon as there was an opportunity. It's not true. They're killing us.
Many of the people here are Russian speakers, those Putin claimed this war is aiming to protect. They became victims of a conflict that started in their name. Hud Abdelhamid, Al Jazeera, along the Ukraine-Romania border.
It's now time for sports news. And our sports news, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Art Permanent Secretary Kangwa Chileshe says sports associations in Zambia should be serious in the manner they carry out their activities. Speaking to the media, Kangwa says there should be consistency coming from sports associations in bringing out great results. Kangwa states that the associations should utilize the resources given to them by government and perform to their best ability in any tournament. Kanga was reacting to a story where Zambia scooped the 2022 Africa Cup pool tournament.
They have earned their stripes. You see, there are so many sporting disciplines, each one competing for mega resources. But when we see seriousness, when we see organization, when we see valuable input, okay, as government, we respond to it. So I'm also encouraging sports associations that are in Zambia to be serious. I think that's where it starts from, to be serious, make sure that your constitutions are in place, make sure that you're running your associations professionally, make sure that your books are being audited, make sure that whatever resources that you're getting from government, from cooperating partners, from donors and sponsors, you're utilizing them efficiently, effectively, for the intended purpose. And when that happens, you begin to see a lot more sponsorship coming in. So we are in support, and our presence at some of these
And now, Camnet Television CEO, Pastor Victoria Chiluba, has challenged parents in the country to allow their children participate in different sporting disciplines. Pastor Chiluba says children deserve a chance to exploit their various talents through sports and education. Camnet Stars has beaten Imiti Kula FC by 4-0 in the FAS Zone 2 Under-19 games. More in the following report.
March 8th saw a first week 10 Zone 2 games between Camnet Stars and Imitukula FC. The game was being officiated by women from center referee to assistant referee. This reporter managed to interview the referee to know what the game meant to them while it's commemorating Women's Day.
Women are being given chance, like being Women's Day today, and we have been given a chance to officiate the men's game anyway. We appreciate a lot and we feel very much comfortable and very much recognized anyway.
Amongst those interviewed was Camnet TV CEO Pastor Victoria Chiluba, who opted to celebrate her Women's Day by drumming up support for Camnet Stars.
For who God is and for creating us as women. It's a blessing that this day is dedicated to women, but really all days are Women's Day according to me, because we do too much. We don't just carry all of you people and birth you, we groom you, we bring you up. But today, Camnet Stars, they've given us a wonderful gift in that we are exactly 2 months old since the formation. And I want to say hello to all our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, and it's been a beautiful day.
Pastor Victoria further challenged parents not to keep their children away from sporting activities.
People thought just academia was the best. But in us, every one of us has been given a gift. Others is soccer, others athletics, others boxing, whatever it is. So to your parents who are still locked up in the medieval, please release your children. Money is everywhere. It's in the area of your calling. So I congratulate the parents whose children are into soccer, into all various sports. Like not now, but in the nearest future, we are going to have a girls' team. Yeah, like we said, about December, somewhere there, by the grace of God. As women, we are equally very talented.
Pastor Victoria disclosed that there is great need for children to balance sports with education. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
On that sporting note, we come to the end of the news, but the headlines once again. Zambia marks International Women's Day. The Zambia police castigated for putting a child behind bars. The UPND denies plotting a one-party state. In international news, Ukrainian child refugees enroll in Romanian schools. And in sports news, government urges sports associations to be serious in their activities. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3 to 4. Praise the God, Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort. He comforts us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any kind of affliction through the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Thank you so much. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and have a wonderful night.